This is landscape with Hippo, right?
Yeah.
And when I first saw this series of works, I was kind of not shocked, that's a bit of a strong word, but I suppose slightly affronted by the fact that you'd stuck stuff on.
Yeah.
And where did that idea come from?
Right, it's a very simple tale. When my daughter was kind of young, kind of 7 or 8, so we used to go to a local car boot sale, and I'd give her kind of £1 or something, and she'd run off, and she'd come back with a kind of bag full of these type of thing. And then when she was a teenager, she cleared out her room once and came down with a bin bag full of this stuff, and said, "Dad, I don't want these anymore." And being a sentimental dad, I kind of kept them, and they were in my studio, and I do enjoy them. I do kind of like them. I like the kind of and somehow it just evolved that I kind of started incorporating them into the work. I didn't think it was like kind of revolutionary to stick something on, but I kind of the rest of the kind of ceramic world were quite interesting, because some quite kind of experienced kind of makers would come up and say, "Did you make that little hippo?" I said, "Get off."
But that's interesting, because for me, it's like, what it says is that it's sort of ceramics looking out rather than art world looking. It's saying ceramics could be more than ceramics.
Yeah. It's kind of well, for me, it's in a way celebrating an unknown kind of art form. But this is they're particularly because they're anonymous as well. That's what I enjoy about them. They're being made by somebody in a factory. There's no. Very rarely is there even a factory kind of stamp on them. They're so kind of cheap. One of the kind of things is that they're also made in such volumes and painted in such volumes, and that's kind of something I quite enjoy. That kind of on this little piece, it's kind of like the mouth is just one kind of long line.
It's what I call relaxed fluency of someone who's done something a million times, and they don't have to, and that has a kind of art to it, does it?
Yeah. It's something that kind of I've tried to do, and you try all day to get it. You have to do it over and over and over again. It's
almost one of the sort of defining traits of craft, really. It's something that you practice thousands of times.
Yeah.
And so would you say that in that the provenance of the objects is from your daughter, would you say these are kind of like sentimental shrines?
Oh, they're incredibly sentimental. That's why we're in this idealized landscape. They kind of and in some ways, that's why eventually I stopped kind of making them, because I kind of perceived that they were becoming sentimentalized, and kind of I just made too many of them, kind of. But they are very much about a kind of an isolated dream landscape. Kind of, in some cases, I said they're little bits of England, because often they kind of they're based on kind of. This kind of curving kind of landscapes based on the kind of Sussex Downs, kind of that kind of where you get those kind of amazing kind of beautiful curves, and you get cows that are kind of standing. It's
a very graphic landscape, isn't it? And the shadows of the trees across it and things. Yeah. And do you make each one specifically for the object? Do you start with the object?
It varies. I think that kind of in most cases it would start with the object. Let me think. This is kind of because I made this quite a while ago. So I think in probably all cases, it's not a matter of I have a kind of 5 ideal landscapes and then I find 5 kind of objects. They didn't all some of them were sourced, so I bought them. They weren't all for my daughter's collection, so kind of this prompted me to go out and kind of buy other kind of other things, so kind of, you know, one raided the charity shops.
Yeah. And what do you think is your relationship to kitsch?
I don't see it as kitsch.
But
I really don't. Kind of, my relationship to kitsch is kind of, I suppose early on I really enjoyed it, and kitsch had a meaning. But I kind of think recently I just don't believe in kitsch. Kind of.
Because I think Clement Greenberg.
Maybe I'm too jaded. I've seen too much.
Because Clement Greenberg described kitsch as art after the soul has left. It's like the corpse of art.
Yeah.
But do you think
I wouldn't agree with that. I think that kind of these things are kind of not soulless. Kind of they obviously carry a lot of meaning for some people.
So do you think that these works are actually sort of about putting the soul back into these objects?
Yeah, putting them. Yes, kind of maybe putting them back into an arena, which is kind of. I showed them at contemporary applied arts in London. I had a show of these kind of. It was in a group show, and there kind of was a group of these. I gave a talk, a gallery talk, and I said I love the irony that kind of these things only cost 50p, and now we're kind of on sale for kind of £2,000, and the gallery owner blanched.
Yeah, I think there's more to it than that. I mean, we're seeing on this piece. What date would this piece be?
Mid-90s.
So by this point, you're sort of gearing up your craft skills. It's a lot more sort of perfection. You know, even the kind of gestural marks on the trees are kind of contrived gestural marks.
Oh yes, yeah. They kind of they kind of yes, and this is, on this one here, it's completely contrived because it's kind of basically it's molded. It's the marks are from a plaster mold, which kind of. Originally, I would have made the marks, but they kind of are manufactured. So they kind of these are kind of these are kind of gestural marks, but they kind of
are they gestural marks?
They're not really meant. They're kind of like fake gestural.
Sort of like the Liechtenstein abstract expressionist painting.
Very, very much so. Yeah.
And. What was I going to ask? And do you think there's a historical precedent for this sort of treatment of the found object?
There is kind of, yes, and that's another reason why I started moving away from the kind of actual found object with a history. You kind of look at, kind of the found object. Usually, it's not a new found object. It has it's interesting. I kind of read an article on Kleinholst, and kind of he kind of says that kind of most of the things he used were second hand because that's all he could afford. Yeah,
he'd have bought the new ones if he could have got
them. Well, he said the irony was that kind of after 5 years, his kind of the things became antiques. But he said the original idea that they were worthless. It was junk, real junk.
That's an important aspect of them for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite interesting because there are different categories of found objects. I mean, there's a very significant object. Like I think of something like, say, a saint's bone remounted in a reliquary or something like that, or some precious shell that's been kind of silver mounted. Or then you have the kind of like Kleinholz would use. Yeah. And then, there's also the thing of if you got something that was almost incredibly valuable already and then somehow used it in a way.
So I kind of and I kind of as I said, it's kind of one of the reasons why I kind of moved away from these, because they kind of were sentimental in their history as well. So at some point, although they were from a kind of car boot sale, at some point they were treasured by somebody.
And do you think that you're quite disciplined about that sort of thing? Is it?
Well, I hate the romanticism in my work, but I can't avoid it.
You hate the romanticism.
Yeah.
So how do you want people to sort of talk about your work then?
It's not. I don't know. I really. It's about the way I perceive it. It's not kind of how other people. That's why I hate it in myself. I don't. I kind of think it's a trap.
It's quite interesting that when I first saw your work, I thought it was very cool and it had a sort of edge of cynicism. And then I met you, and then when you talk about each piece, it quite often has a very autobiographical and kind of chance sort of burst. Yeah, and I think that entirely reflects my experience of being an artist. Is that's how things happen. There's not.
It's no great intellect. The reasoning for these things comes afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Post-rationalisation is the artist's most valuable intellectual tool.
Yeah, exactly.
And would there be anything in the V&A collection that this relates to, do you think?
I can't think of anything. It kind of in the art world, it would relate more to painting than kind of.
Which particular painter?
I was trying to remember his name, but I couldn't. There's a kind of early 20th century American kind of painter, Grant. There's landscapes.
Oh, I know the ones you mean. Yeah,
slightly airy.
Is it Grant Wood?
Yeah, Grant Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would kind of, that was kind of, and they are incredibly romantic, kind of idealised view of the kind of the American landscape. And it is quite interesting that it kind of mostly aerial views, and this is an aerial view.
Yeah.
It relates more to kind of that source, I think, more than kind of, I suppose, it relates a lot to the kind of the ornamental, I suppose.